Sam Darley here, and I hope everybody's having a happy 4th of July. Thank you to the men and women who risk everything to protect the freedom of this country. Sorry about that. The camera moving around. The biggest news of today is that Gordon Hayward signed, and then he didn't sign, and now he's deciding where he wants to sign next season. He's a free agent. He was with the Utah Jazz. Sorry, I keep moving the camera. Do apologize. He has repeatedly changed his mind about where he wants to go. He initially was that he was going to sign with the Boston Celtics. That now it's like, where is he gonna go? Is he gonna go back to Utah? Is he gonna go to Miami? Is he gonna go to the Boston Celtics? Those are the three teams that, at least right now, are in the running for him. I think Boston now, with him changing his mind, is out of the question. And I think it's honestly because Danny Ainge has literally hoarded all these draft picks and has not been willing to move on from either one of them to land a top 10 player in the NBA. I mean, if you look around the league, I mean, Colin Cowherd alluded to this on his radio show, that Houston got Chris Paul. You got Carmelo Anthony wanting to go to Houston. You got PJ Tucker who wanted and is now signed with the Houston Rockets. You got Nene re-signing for less money. People want to play with top 10 players, and I think Gordon Hayward kind of thought, wait a minute, the only top 10 player on the Celtics is Isaiah Thomas. And nobody really wants to play. Nobody gets up and says, I want to play with Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk. So, to me, it's about who's the most attractive team. And I think Utah is still a team that I think, if anybody's going to pry him from Utah, it's going to be Miami. South Beach, Pat Riley, history of winning. Miami is not even a contender. I mean, neither Boston nor Miami would be put above the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference if he signed. Whereas if he went back to Utah, he's got Golden State, he's got San Antonio, he's got the Rockets to compete against, and now he's got the Minnesota Timberwolves. And yes, I'm going to put Minnesota back in there. The Clippers are having a nice little free agency. They got some solid players from Houston. They're not a contender. And then you got Paul George teaming up with Westbrook in Oklahoma City. People think that's going to be a one-year rental. I don't. I think it really comes down to how well Paul George likes playing next to Russell Westbrook. Russell has a tendency to be my turn. He did this with Katie. It was your turn, my turn type thing. In other words, with Skip Bayless. But, how well Paul George and Russell Westbrook play together, that's going to determine how long that duo lasts, whether it just be 1 year. If that happens, and the Oklahoma City Thunder really just blew it. I mean, they gave up two solid players for Paul George, 1 year of going for it. And if they don't get back into the Western Conference Finals and Paul George doesn't enjoy playing with Russell Westbrook, then he's going to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. But if he loves playing with Westbrook and the Thunder have a successful playoff run, excuse me, then I think Paul George will consider resigning with Oklahoma City, because there's no way he's going to resign with a rebuilding Lakers squad, even though it's his hometown, over a team that's a contender in Oklahoma City. As if Oklahoma City becomes a contender, I'm not ready to call them contenders, because they got the same type of team they had when it was just Russell Westbrook, and when they had Kevin Durant. They don't have enough shooters. They've still got size. They've still got length. They're very tough defensively, and of course they got Westbrook. But outside of that, with Paul George, does he really put them over the top? I do think it's going to create intrigue into their matchup with the Golden State Warriors. Golden State got everybody back. Andre Iguodala was toying between going to Houston or going back to Golden State. He was never leaving the Golden State Warriors. That was just a gimme. I mean, he was going to go back to Golden State, and Houston got PJ Tucker essentially to replace Trevor Ariza. I think if that Tucker deal, if anything, it makes Trevor Ariza expendable, and they're also trying to get Carmelo Anthony. But the Knicks aren't willing to take on Anderson's contract and Ariza and a draft pick. Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Melo's going to try and get a buyout. And if I was Carmelo Anthony, I think if I was in Carmelo's shoes, I would sit in the Knicks. I'm not playing this season until you buy me out or you trade me. There is clear evidence that both parties are wanting to move on. There's no need for him to play and risk injury for a mediocre Knicks team when he clearly wants to go to Cleveland or Houston. And Chris Paul is, and we've heard in the past, Chris Paul and LeBron James and Melo have wanted to team up and form a big three before their careers are over, whether it be in Los Angeles, as rumored, or somewhere else. Houston's not a bad city, and it got James Harden, so it would be essentially a Fantastic Four if they ended up forming in Houston. So that's kind of the latest around NBA free agency. Houston's got to fill a roster. They gave up a lot to get Chris Paul, and they've kind of gone quiet lately. They got Nene back, and they got PJ Tucker. They need some shooting. They need some size. And then, of course, Darren Moore still got the trade market to work through. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet. And other than the Gordon Hayward drama, we haven't really heard much of it. I think he's literally the domino. He's gonna start. It's gonna be the domino effect. Once he signs, I think the free agent market will start moving again. Speaking of Major League Baseball, the MLB All-Star break is just 6 games away, at least for the Astros. The Astros boast the best record in baseball. They're sending 5 players to the All-Star game. The All-Star game no longer decides home field advantage in the World Series. I think if you're a legit championship contender like Houston, the Boston Red Sox, and the Cleveland Indians, I know it's an honor to be an All-Star, but those games, if the All-Star game has no more meaning to it, there's no sense in putting any of your best players out there. There's no sense in sending them and saying, hey, we got bigger fish to fry. Because in American sports, the only thing that matters is championships. If you're thinking All-Star appearances, you're in the wrong. You're playing the sport for the wrong reason. You play to win a championship. And I think if I was a contender, I wouldn't want any of my best players going into the game. I certainly would not want any of my pitchers pitching any more than an inning. Because it's about, you've got to think of the big picture. You got to think about the second half of the season. You got to think about the playoffs. And you got to think about, obviously, you got to try and stay as fresh as you possibly can until the playoffs start. The Astros might have that luxury for the entire month of, I know at least for the final month and a half of the season, they should have that luxury because they're well up in their division. And of course, there's still a trade deadline. They're still linked to pitching rumors for Garrett Cole, Chris Archer, Sonny Gray, and David Paulino's 80-game suspension really hurts because he was a trade piece, and now he's gone for 80 games. Nobody's going to trade an ace for that kind of misconduct or that type of suspended player. So it's going to strap the Astros down at the trade deadline. It's going to force them to give up a position player or two if they want to get that ace. Their bullpen has ate a lot of innings this month. There needs to be at least somebody else in the rotation that can give them 6 or 7 innings a night. Just 8 innings, maybe 7 to 8. 9 innings would be great. But I guess we'll see what happens. Gordon Hayward, undecided. Where is he going to go? We'll see. Again, I hope everybody's having a great 4th of July. Stay safe. And God bless America. Thank you for watching. This has been Sam Darley.